Hi, Maurice in Core Focus. How do you manage your time when you're putting a tender together? Is it easy, or do you get hassled and stressed like a lot of my clients that come to me and they say, you know, we've got to put this tender in, but there's all these other competing interests in our business, and we always end up leaving it till the last minute, and then we're not quite sure on the quality of the tender document, and our results aren't quite as good as what we'd like, etc., etc., etc. Well, what I want to talk with you or share with you this afternoon is a stress-free time frame for tendering. And the idea here is that you get that tender in on time, in good shape, and importantly, all the people involved remain good friends at the end. Okay, so that's what it's about. So let's have a look at this time frame I've developed, one I've already prepared earlier. Starting 0 to 25. Why 25 days? Because that's the mandated minimum for federal government tenders. State governments tend to adopt the same sort of time frame. Local councils can be maybe 21 days. Whatever it is, this is what you need to do. Okay, so let's have a look at some of the key dates. Now, I've noted here the key dates in what we use in Core Focus for our tender response time frame. Okay, let's have a look at some of them. Tenders released, day 0. By day 3, we're looking to have a strategy meeting where, in the lead up to that, between day 0 and day 3, everybody involved in developing the tender has read the tender and started to get inside that monster of a thing. Okay, so that when they come to the meeting, they've already got some idea on what it's looking for, starting to form their ideas on how to respond, what are the key hot buttons for the department, etc. What kind of information have we already got that we can use, and where are the gaps that we might need to develop new information. Okay, so on day 3 you have that strategy meeting to develop your response strategy. Okay, once you've done that, then by day 14 that's where we work on the first draft. You allocate the jobs in your team. If you're fortunate enough to have more than one person involved, then you can allocate the jobs. But if it's one person, you've got the idea. Okay. By day 14, you want to have the first draft done. Okay. Now, it's important when you're writing a tender to not just do it yourself. Okay, because you can get immersed in your way of thinking. Where I'm leading up to here is a really critically important thing in getting your tenders winning successfully and consistently, is this part here, the review. Okay, between day 14 and 17, you need to pass it off to somebody who hasn't been involved in this process, so they can read it with fresh eyes and come back to you on day 17 with amendments or gaps identified, ways that they think that the tender can be improved. Okay, then between day 17 to day 20, draft 2. Now, it's a shorter time frame, right, because you should have done the bulk of it here. Okay, so in day 2, about 3 days should be enough. Then you're developing your second draft, incorporating the new information or ideas that the reviewer has given you. Then you go for a second review. Now, why do you say a second review? Why isn't one good enough? Remember, I'm stepping out here the best process that will get you the best results. And I know from experience that you need 2 reviews. Okay? That second review will pick up new things or take the arguments to a more refined stage. Critically important. Get 2 done. Then here, F+S. That stands for finalise and submit. So by this stage, you've done 2 drafts, had 2 reviews. This here should be pretty well just done. Okay, so by that stage, things are looking pretty good. You're pulling it together, you're putting the table of contents together, and really polishing it. Then you submit it by day 24. Why do I say day 24? Because in my view and experience, wherever possible, stay away from the last day. And I've got an interesting little story about that. Did some work with a client about 6 months ago. They brought us in to review why they weren't getting the successes out of their tenders that they wanted. And the managing director told me a story there about an important tender that they put in. It was worth about $4.5 million for them. And they wanted to wait till the last minute just in case their secrets might be stolen by somebody waiting on the inside that would then share it with their mates. The trouble was, it was an electronic lodgement tender. They started to lodge at 10 to 2. It hadn't finished lodging by 2 o'clock. The shutters went down and they missed out. So, in my experience, try and stay right away from day 25. Particularly in today's environment where departments are saying in the tender documents, late tenders will not be accepted under any circumstances unless it's their fault, if the slave stuffed something up. So stay right away from the last day. Okay? One other tip. This is a time frame for getting a tender done in good order and everybody remaining friends at the end of it. Don't do this. Don't start there. Don't start with just a week to go. Because you've missed out on all this development time. It's really critically important, if you're serious about tenders, to give yourself the maximum time to develop the strongest tender you can possible. Now, that's how we work with clients. We can even do a little bit better by starting here before the tenders come out. If you're aware that a tender is coming out, you know the old saying, a stitch in time saves 9? Boy, does it ever pay off in tendering. We have a buy rule or a saying, preparation pays off. So if you can, get involved and start earlier so that you're prepared, so that when the tender is released, you're ready to go and you're powering right through these 24 days. So there it is, the core focus, stress-free tender time frame. If that works for you, use it. If you want some help, give us a call. We'd love to help you. info@corefocus.com.au. See you again.